Oh, Mary, hi. How are you?
Good.
I'm doing very well. So Juliana and Paul should be joining us shortly. We just have, okay, there they are. I see them. So, okay, perfect. All right, so let's them in. Okay, so I'm just letting them in. Them. So let's see. Oh, there they are. Hopefully the internet connection is stable enough that we are at the conversation.
Morning.
Hey, Paul and Juliana, we can hear you. Hey, good morning. Okay, perfect. Sure, no problem. No problem. So
Yeah.
they'll be joining us shortly. And Mary, this is your first live as a co-host.
The first organization
so,
that I get to participate in is Juliana's Sanctuary, okay, because I had the fortune of meeting them last year. So this is really great that I can reconnect with them again.
That's wonderful. Yeah, they are very wonderful people. You know, we got to meet Paul and Juliana. I mean, it's been mostly my communication directly more with Paul, but, you know, of course, I love Juliana's work and we have communicated indirectly and really love the work they do. And of course, Paul has been involved with the sanctuary with Juliana, as well as they've been involved with humanitarian work. So he does lots and lots of good things.
Wonderful that the two of them both do work for animals in their separate ways.
Yeah, absolutely. So before they join us, Mary, so please can you tell our audience about your involvement with Vegius
it's a really great story how we met Faik, because I have been working for sanctuaries for many years, and having been on the sanctuary side, we had an opportunity to meet because of of course, you going around the countries meeting other sanctuaries. And so I felt very fortunate that we had the opportunity to meet in the space of the work that you do. And I just so admire this organization that you've created, Faik, and I'm so honored to be a part of it and to have this opportunity now to be the liaison with the sanctuaries that you work with. And so this is my first opportunity to do one of your many chats with your sanctuaries. So this is great, and thank you for having me join you for this one.
Oh, absolutely. You really are the perfect person for this, for two main reasons. Well, one, the fact that you have this experience working with sanctuaries, and the other one is that you are the marketing and community relations liaison at Vegius. So that is really awesome.
On a personal level, because learning about new sanctuaries and visiting new sanctuaries is one of my favorite things to do.
Here they are back. Okay, so let's let them in. Coming in now.
Good morning.
Idea.
Oh, there they are. Hello. Good morning, Paul and Juliana. It's really wonderful seeing both of you, and of course this is Mary, Mary Macaspac, the marketing and community relations liaison at Vegius, and Paul and Juliana, the co-founders of Juliana's Place, sanctuary in Colombia. And so this begs a very first question, which is, why Colombia of all other countries? I'm assuming Juliana has some kind of connection.
Why Colombia?
But I'm just assuming.
She's Colombian. She lives here. She's literally started the first farm animal sanctuary in the whole of South America.
I see that there was no farm sanctuaries in South America. And of course, I was following all the sanctuaries in Europe and in the US. And since I am a little girl, since I'm 11 years old, I always dreamed to have a place to help animals, to rescue animals. So I was not planning like a sanctuary. I was planning like a shelter or something like that. And I started to rescue. I bought the first farm that was almost 20 years ago. And that is how we start. We start as a shelter, and then I start to see all the requirements to be a sanctuary, the follow-up and follow all these big sanctuaries to do the right thing. I mean, it's very important to don't work in sentimental ways, but rather in what I really can give, what it really can do, and not like I'm going to rescue all the animals, because that is impossible. And so at the end, we ended up having the first sanctuary in Colombia. Right now, we are the only one verified by the Global Federation in the whole South America. So that means we cover with excellence all the necessary to rescue animals. The 27th of January.
Okay. And how old is the sanctuary now? How many years has it been in operation?
Yes.
Wow.
Long time.
Wow.
Long time.
I mean, I knew it has been around for a while, but I did not realize that long.
Half of my life.
Yeah. Yeah, and I was talking that I have had the pleasure of, I mean, communicating with you indirectly, but with Paul more directly. My connection initially was with Paul, but Mary met you, she told me personally. So Mary, can you tell Juliana that story?
The ABA summit in Los Angeles last year, and I specifically remember seeing that there was a booth of a sanctuary in South America, specifically Colombia, and I had never met any sanctuaries in that continent or that country. And so I probably touched your ear and listened to you, like spend so much time at your booth, Juliana, because like such an amazing moment for me, and I enjoyed it so much that I did buy 2 shirts, and I actually have a hat also, because it was just such a memorable experience for me. And so technically I met Juliana first before Paul, and I just felt so like fortunate that I had that opportunity, being that you're from Colombia, and this is the one opportunity I had that you were here in the United States, specifically Los Angeles, and it was wonderful. And you told me the story about how you started, and I believe about the first animal you rescued. If you'd like to retell that story about the first animal that you rescued.
Well, I mean, of course, I started rescuing dogs and all this, but as a sanctuary, as when I decided to have this place, was a dog, of course, but then I start with the farm animals. That is my main thing. And Valorant, the one that you are wearing in your t-shirt, is one of them. And he is the logo of the sanctuary. And he's still with us. His birthday is in January too, 20 years too. So one of the oldest bulls that you will ever see. And he's giant. He's like a 2 meters tall. But the way he came to me when I bought the farm, because in that moment I only had dogs, I was not planning to grow to the point that we are now. And we have a few dogs in the farm, and one day I was hearing the dogs barking like they went totally crazy, and I looked through the window and I saw the area when we got the first farm is a dairy. A lot of dairy farms around us. So I saw how a cow jumped the fence, went inside the sanctuary. That is when I run outside to say, oh my God, there is a cow in my fields. And when I came, she was having a baby.
Oh, wow.
So, of course, I was new in the countryside. I am a city person. I was born in the capital of Colombia, Bogota. And when I came, I was like, I don't know what to do. I mean, I'm not a farmer. I don't know what to do. I was just there, doing nothing while she was delivering, and she delivered a baby, ginger baby. And suddenly the owners, the abusers of the cow came around through the main gate of the farm and came to say, that is my cow and that is my calf. And I was very, at this moment, this is very important. At that moment, I was not vegan. I was lacto-vegetarian. So I didn't know how horrible was the dairy industry. I was very ignorant. And I knew something, but I was in that denial, until this happened. So the baby was on my legs because he still had, starting to walk, and all this covered in blood and placenta, and the mother was still sitting, trying to stand up. So I was doing this, and in that moment they came and I said, "What are you going to do?" So the baby is going to the slaughter because it's a bull. The other one for the meal, and that is when hit me. It's real. It's real. This is the dairy industry. It's not beautiful and kind. How many people describe the cows give us the meal. Nothing. I realized in that moment that was not real. So my instinct was like I grabbed the calf. Of course, was giant. I grabbed the calf and I say, "Let them stay, please. Let them stay here." And they say, "No, because we're going to sell." And I say, "But please. As a vegan, we don't offer money in exchange for liberation, because when we offer money to pay for the freedom of the animal, we are doing many wrong things. First thing is we are saying to the abuser that, yes, life can be exchanged for money, and we have to remove that. We are saying to the abuser, yes, they are like objects. This is what they cost, and we have to remove that. And with that money, they're going to buy another calf, 2, 3 calves, and they're going to continue. So it's very important. And whoever is hearing, never pay to rescue the animals. You may be rescued one, but you are doing so much damage to many more. You are doing so much to the education about veganism, so never pay for it. So of course they ask me for money, and I say, "No, I don't going to give you money. Please give me the calf." And in that moment, all the situation was so terrible, and the cows in that field start to cry. Was so strong, all the cows cried, that you can feel the vibration, literally. And of course, the mother of this bull had giant tears. And I was grabbing this baby so strong, and the baby only want to do what normal babies want to do, be with their mother and drink the milk that belonged to them. And of course, I start to cry crazy, and I think they feel channeled me or something, and they say, "Okay, you can keep the baby, but not the mother." So they took the mother, and this was one of the most sadness moments. I had to hold that baby while his mother was taken away, and that was the first and last time they see each other. And of course, that was heartbreaking. And some people say, "Oh, but you saved his life. It's a beautiful moment. You rescued animals." But the reality is, yes, he's alive now. He's just a few meters close to me, but he lost his mother. And that mother lost a baby. And that is something that is broken forever. Doesn't matter that Ballarat is happy and free here. That is broken forever. So that was a bitter-sweet moment. That is the moment that I named him Ballarat. Ballarat got his freedom, but at the same time was the moment that he lost his mother. So I become his mother. He was sleeping with me in bed, bottle baby, until he grew enough that he cannot be with me in bed. So he's now in the grass. He's giant. He's still healthy. He's very old. He's going to be 20. He's the logo of the story, and he's the inspiration behind. He was the one who helped me to go vegan. Wow. At the exact moment I say, okay, I was doing wrong my whole life. He's the reason why I dedicate my life to this. And he also teach me how important is. One thing is the rescued animals is amazing, but more important is that rescued animals is not the solution. Doesn't matter how many sanctuaries are in the world, doesn't matter how many land we have, or if all the sanctuaries are rich, we never ever are going to help animals in that way. The real solution is education. So that is why it's so important that sanctuaries have all these animals, but these animals have a story to tell. That is what I'm telling you now. These animals are here to tell you what is wrong. I cannot rescue all the animals in the world. So some people say I'm a hero, I am an angel, but no, it's you who have to be the protagonist of this story. So whoever is hearing us now, to rescue animals is not the solution. It's what you learn from there. What Balaran is here to tell you, what Libertad is here to tell you. Each animals is here to tell you something, to educate you. And this is the way we're going to help animals. Not by rescuing them, but stopping the abuse from the road.
Oh my God, beautifully said. Very beautifully said, and that's exactly the premise Vegius, when I started it. Because what I noticed is, it's in fact, so it's usually mostly single women or a couple, and with a couple, usually the woman is the leading force. So very empathetic, very intelligent, very resourceful, but there is just really so much they can do, and they get drowned with work because, well, it takes a lot to run a sanctuary. But if we can empower them with resources from the vegan economic revolution, then they will be able to start educational programs, and there is nothing more powerful. There is nothing more powerful. It's not vegan cheese, people. It's not vegan this. It's not vegan that. It's encountering farm animals. And the strongest weapon in the arsenal of animal agriculture is silence and invisibility. As long as animals are not seen for what they are, people just go buy, you see next to the produce, you'll find meat wrapped in plastic, and there is produce wrapped in plastic. It's the same. But if people get to go and see animals, that's what is the most effective way of doing it. And that's exactly what Juliana says. Yes, of course, saving a life is extremely powerful. Of course it is. But the reality of the thing, if we are to reverse this trend, we would have to go to the root. These surviving animals become ambassadors. Yeah, absolutely. So I'm very curious. So because of your context, it's very unusual, because usually I talk to most of the sanctuaries we work with. I mean, of course, we work with sanctuaries everywhere, but the vast majority are in countries like where veganism is sort of taking root, like Europe, United States. How is it? What are the kind of challenges you have running an organization like a vegan animal sanctuary in Colombia, where I would assume, I'm just assuming, and you can please correct me, that the concept of veganism there is not as well established as, let's say, England or the United States.
In Colombia, it's not such a meat country like other countries. For example, when I visit the US, it's insane compared with here. I mean, I see the people chopping and that car full of the animals. In Colombia, it's not so much like that, and it's mostly because we don't have seasons, so we have all kind of food all the time, and it's cheap compared with other countries. So about the diet or the vegan part is very easy to manage. But of course, like in all the countries, and I travel a lot, and I use the broad education about veganism. Each person have a concept that try to fit in your life, and we forget that veganism is not for us, was created specific for them, in the same way that feminism was created specific for women, in the same way that Black Lives Matter is specific for Black people. We cannot accommodate for us. This is for animals. We do it for the animals. If we decide to be in this size of activists, it's because we are totally convinced that we're doing for them. So it's not for our ego. We don't want to be rock stars. We don't want to accommodate to our life. No, it's for them. So we follow their rules. So I noticed that it's a lot of misconception is what is veganism, in fact, and then it's mixed with another movements that is, I consider, is very unfair. Animal movements is the minority of all the movements in the world, and when we mix with other movements and all that, it's like we remove everything. So if we decide to be in this part of the movement, we have to be totally conscious that is for them. So we don't mix with other things. It's literally for them. There is a space for everything. Veganism is just for them. Of course, there is a lot of what I call side effects, like it's good for our health, it's good for the planet, it's good for so many things. Veganism is so good that the side effects are just amazing. But the real part is we want to end the animals' abuse in all the ways. If this abuse is beautiful, like, but they kill under anesthesia, is abuse. So this is the main thing. Doesn't matter how look the abuse, and we're not talking about pain. Abuse many times comes without pain. So that is the only thing, that is the main thing. And that is for me, that is what I realized doesn't matter in the country, is the hard part. It's very difficult for people to understand the main reason why we are vegans or why veganism exists, that is just for them. So all these misconceptions, all these ideas or significance that people create about veganism are wrong. And we have to came to just one. It's just for them, and it's to end the animal abuse. Don't matter the mask that animal abuse is wearing, it's just for that, nothing else. Nothing personal, nothing for our health, nothing for our planet. That is beautiful, but it's not for that. Once we all as a vegans had very clear what is the real concept of why we are vegans and where we're going to be so strong. But it's so difficult to deal with so many egos, like the raw vegan, the vegan for the planet, the vegan for health. It's so difficult to deal with all that when it's vegan for the animals, and that is all.
Yeah.
That is all. The worst is very specific. So that for me is find the hard part, and it's happening in each country that I visit, each conference that I am, is for me.
Yeah, the message gets diluted, unfortunately, and it gets inflated with a lot of very political sort of issues.
Mm-hmm.
And at the end of the day, as she's saying, the essence is we just want to respect animals. We want to give them the opportunity of a free life, a happy life. That's it. That's the bottom line.
What kind of progress in these 20 years? Change of attitude about animals and how that relates to being vegan?
We are one of the centuries, and I can say one of the centuries in the world that have more strong and large educational programs. And I don't want to beat all the credit to me, because I start with one school, but this school was so excited that the school was not me, start to share with other schools. And this becomes so popular, and we receive calls, emails, letters, almost from all the schools in the city and here in the town where we are that want to come to educational programs. So I am very strict. When they accept that they want to receive this education from us, I am very clear, and I say, I'm going to use the word vegan, I'm going to use the word veganism, and I'm going to say to them, the kids, that what they are doing is wrong. So if you want to be in my programs, that is going to create maybe conflicts in families. Parents are going to say something. You have to be ready for that in the same way that I'm ready for that. If a parents come to me and say, hey, my kid don't want to eat meat because it's going to your center, I am ready to speak with that parent as a mother, because I am a mother too, and figure out what to do, you know? So, but the school and the directors of the school have to be ready that I'm going to be very direct. Of course, my language in education change depends on the age of the kids. We have kids from 5 years old to 16 years old. So, for example, when a kid of 8 years old came, I don't going to say, so the farmer raped the cow. I don't use the language because it's very difficult for them to understand. So as an educator, I find different ways to explain the same reality. I don't make up the reality, but I change my language. Depends on the psychology of each kid that came to visit. But the message is straight. We are doing something wrong. We have to fix the problem. We have to help other people to fix the problem.
Absolutely. Juliana, before we move to the technical side of running a sanctuary and asking you some questions, I just want to talk about the philosophical part that you just brought up. Extremely important. On my Facebook status, I say my top 3 reasons of being vegan are animals, animals, and animals. But on my T-shirt, you would see so animals, planet, health. This I'm willing. So for me, as technically, because many people wouldn't think in that way. Okay, look. as long as they get to stop harming animals, I'm willing to say, okay, health, to promote that, and just because it leads eventually to the same result. But philosophically, I'm absolutely very clear. And not just that, I always keep saying that sometimes I run into vegan animals, animal rights activists who literally are living this fantasy of being Martin Luther King or Gandhi or whatever it is. And I tell them, look, leave the animals alone. They have suffered enough. If you have some kind of psychological issues, no, go find a psychologist. This is not about you being a hero. This is about animals being appreciated as the sentient beings they are. Don't make it about you. Don't make it about the tribe, us vegans versus non-vegans. I'm sorry. It's very porous. I wasn't vegan. I learned and I cared and I moved to this side.
Yes.
So because sometimes people try to pin non-vegans as them,
that is very important,
make it flexible. Make them see.
Marketing. For example, nobody wants to be insulted. Nobody wants me to tell you that I am a bad person. Nobody wants. If you go straight and say you're a bad person because you hurt animals, they immediately is going to be a barrier. I say, no, I don't want you to insult me. Immediately, they don't going to even hear you. So this is some kind of marketing. I'm going to explain, like I explained in another conference, there is a way to approach. So let's say we are not selling veganism, we are selling a computer. So, hey, look, I want to sell you this computer. This computer is amazing. It's smart, it's fast, because you are too stupid and you need a smart computer, smarter than you, because you don't know how to communicate with people. So this computer had two communications for the stupid people like you. Everyone's going to say, oh, this is insulting me, is calling me stupid, and want me to buy the computer? No, I don't going to buy the computer. That is another way that we can sell the computer. Hello, I have this computer that is for the smart people like you, for people who really want to change the world for you. This is no computer for other people. This is for great people. And people say, yes, that computer is for me. So that is the way that I sell veganism. I sell veganism because I really believe and I really hope that people is smart enough to understand something so simple like we don't hurt others. That is all. We don't abuse others, especially when that others are like babies for their intelligence, their size, their strength. So that is why people is always open for what I want to say, and they never close the door for me, because I talk with the smart people that is inside. If I find someone, because of course there is people who enjoy to kill animals, enjoy to abuse animals, that people exist, I just don't waste my time. I know when someone is not going to change, and it's the minority. And it's the minority, and I know, and I don't waste my time. Okay, I move on, and I focus in the people that really is going to help me to change the world. Yeah. The minority is just not going to waste my time.
And I think it's important that you have a specific focus on educating children, absolutely. Because I feel like, when you reach humans at the earliest stage, before the ego takes over and they start, being more about themselves. I mean, children are still at an age where you can still teach them, and they're still willing to listen and have an open mind about that.
And the families love it. The families love it. After I came here, I went to the schools. I went one day to the school, and I was giving a talk here to the bigger kids. And then I went to the small kids that came more often to the sanctuary, and parents were there. I didn't know their parents were there. And one mother came to me and said, "You're Juliana from the sanctuary?" I said, "Yes, I am. Since my kids are going there, they don't let me kill flies. They don't let me kill spiders. They wash that what I eat." That. And they say to me, thank you. Can you help me what I cook for him? Can you help me with this? I never receive a negative thing, never. Because parents is like, I want my kid eat animals because it's good to kill animals. No, as a parents, they are worried about the diet that I do with my kid, and my kid is vegan. I worry what they eat. So it's nothing negative. It's just fear to things that they don't know. And that's why we are here, to clarify things. And people trust, because, like I say, I am a mother and I have my bigger kid that is strong, smart. He's a pianist, he's a hockey player, he is a genius in maths. Some people say it's good. It's not lack of diet. So the other part is easy to manage.
Yeah, and the response from the kids is really positive too. She gets cards all the time, little notes. The other day, one of the kids created a little $1,000 note. There's a little piece of paper. He was so excited to give it to
Yes, to help the center.
Oh my God, that is so sweet. That is so sweet. And in fact, that reminds me of, or is a very natural bridge to my next question is, in this economy and considering the status of vegan animal sanctuaries as sort of like I feel underserved organization. So how do you stay afloat with all the needs of the animals? And so in this tough economy, plus being in South America, far away from sort of like the, whether it's called sort of like the hub of what people are in terms of helping sanctuaries financially. So how are you able to provide for these animals, and how are you staying afloat at this time for these reasons?
Sanctuary are donations and donations overseas, especially from the US. We are non-profit charity in the US too. The donations in Colombia are very low. I can say like $500 in the last 20 years, something like that. Yes, not only because the socioeconomic situation of the country, but it's something educational. In South America, especially in Colombia, it's very difficult to trust in others because a lot of cheating and all that. So it's very difficult to get an organization and they are going to use the money on this. All these are very difficult because there is many sanctuaries that fail here. I actually have to rescue animals twice from 2 fake sanctuaries in situations that my can even explain. We're talking, for example, rabbits eating their own legs. That situations. So of course, it's very difficult for people to trust where my money is going. So there is not a donation culture in the country, and neither in the government. So normally we working very hard, or personal money or personal salaries.
Yeah, Juliana's not even doesn't get a salary from the center.
Never.
She's volunteering. Because whatever money we're bringing in, we just have to put it into the project itself.
Yes, it's everything. So that we do clothing for dogs, clothing with animal things to sell. We have a dog daycare. That is one of the main ways. But as you maybe saw everywhere, the last year was horrible for many sanctuaries around the world. Many sanctuaries have to close their doors. I can say was one of the worst years. This was one of the worst years. And of course, that hit us too. The world economy, a lot of people, I can say more than the 70% of donations were canceled. So, of course, we started struggling very hard this year.
So, Food Yoga International is also providing some financial support, but we're also been struggling. It's hitting everybody. So,
when the animals are receiving the same VIP treatment that they always receive, they have the best food, the best of the best. And anyone who visit the sanctuary or volunteer from any country in the world they can confirm that we give the best of the best, high quality. But it's hard than ever. For example, right now I'm Paul, don't let me lie, I wake up at 1 a.m., 2 a.m. to start to work. This is not exaggerated. I'm not being dramatic. It's like that. And I went to bed 10, 11, stopped working. And the bad thing about that, yes, the animal had everything, but of course I am a human and I'm getting sick. I'm not eating properly. I'm not sleeping properly. And this is going to affect the future of the animals because I am the one who manage everything. So my health is important. And I will lie that everyone knows how important are the people who is behind managing the sanctuary. And to acknowledge they are human too. They are humans who are each day worry how I'm going to feed the animals tomorrow, that have to work hard, that have to worry is donation coming or not, that have health issues that everyone, and mental issues too. Can you imagine that we have to clean blood all the time from rescued animals? We have to receive these animals suffering. There are many nights we cannot sleep because we have to take care of animals. And at the same time, for the high volume of animals that we have, it's very common that they die more often than for a normal people who their animal companion die. So we have to cry the death of these animals that, of course, we have attachment. And the next day start like nothing, So we carry this this pain. We are tired. We have to take care of our mental health because it's very important. Learn to say no, eat, and at the same time have a personal life because we are humans. So, and nobody cares for us. We are caregivers and nobody cares for us.
A lot of these animals come abused, like with one leg, 3 legs, or like they're blind or they're deaf or so many things. And so that's another.
And that everyone thinks in all that animals caregivers, not only Juliana's Animal Sanctuary, is happening in all the sanctuaries, and how important is their donations.
Yeah.
Because when people donate, when people support, when people came to volunteer, that is donating your time, of course you are helping the animals, but you are helping us to continue. If my health is here, I will continue working in what I do. I will continue giving education. So I'm taking the big hit for everyone. Will be nice that everyone help me, at least help us, all the centuries, to the economical part, while we are taking the hit of all the crazy things that is to have an animal sanctuary.
Do you get many in Colombia? Is that part of the culture that people are look for opportunities to volunteer?
It's not too often like at the US. We have interns programs and we have volunteer programs. Intern program is all over the world. We have people from Israel, Argentina, the US, Canada,
great,
Italy, everyone, England, Finland, everywhere.
Wow.
Yeah.
And we also have volunteer programs, like it's one a month, and that is when people from Colombia came, like 15, 20 volunteers came, and it's really beautiful. And I always say to these volunteers, like in Colombia, it's very difficult to support in economical ways for the situation of the country, but when people donate their time, is for me very touching because they are giving something that they never going to get again. When you give your time, that never return to you. Money return to you, but time is something that you donate and is never come back to you. So I appreciate that a lot. Of course.
It comes back as good karma, yeah. So, Juliana, also I want to mention, okay, so just for the matter of donations, I just want to find out, so, because I just wanted to tell our residents how vital this is for sanctuaries. And personally, even at the moment, I have limited resources, but I participated in supporting some sanctuaries, and it's one of the best things I have ever done. And Juliana, so please tell me, through Juliana's Sanctuary, do you have sponsorship programs, or is it one-time donations? How does it work? And personally, I would love to make a donation myself. And so just please tell me, and then I encourage everybody to do the same. Believe me, people, it's for the price of a couple of cups of coffee a month. You can just brew some coffee home, send that money to beautiful organizations like these. These are the real engine of change. Veganism is about these people. And also, Juliana, I want to tell you one more thing. That's why this means so much to me. Of course, what you do for the animals, but people like you and Paul, very precious types of humans, high empathy, high conscientiousness, intelligence, and you are in the front line of a permanent war. So, and the trauma is real, the hardship is real, the trauma is real, the hardship is real. But not just that, in PTSD, it becomes a lot less likely when people providing aid stick together. And not just that, what is unique about people like you is that the violence is done by your own tribe to the rest of the animal kingdom. That is particularly difficult on the people providing the aid. So that us on the back lines, coming through for you, being there for you, it not only helps with the economic challenge, but the psychological challenge is very vital as well. So, okay, I think that the
internet one thing that was really important that
anyhow, so Mary, this is to me
most of their contributions come from other countries like the United States or other continents in Europe, because their own country is not really of the culture or able to support through financial donations.
Exactly. So for those reasons, I absolutely think of this as a very high priority, and I want to come through for you the way you came through animals. I wanted to come through you in a more structural way through Vegius, but also personally, I care personally. And I mean, I care personally translated that on a structural level, but also on the personal level, I want to remain engaged. So please tell me, Juliana, tell me and tell other people, what can we do? Is it you accept donations, or do you also offer sponsorship of animals that we can sponsor?
One-time donation.
So what we can?
You can sponsor. You can go to our website that is there in our Instagram, and you can sponsor one of the animals. We also have Patreon, where you can donate monthly from $1 a month. Of course, we also have PayPal, but also you can help in so many ways. If you have some skill that we can use, for example, I know how to do fundraising. That is something that you can donate your time. If you had a lot of people in your social media and you think you can promote us, that is a huge help you can give us. If you are an artist or a designer, there is many ways you can help us. So it's not only the money, but your skills are money too.
Donate the artwork for pole dart.
Exactly. Actually, what you are wearing is a donation from a Colombian artist that is living in Argentina.
And illustration, and a great way to tell and teach people about the animals who live there, even though we may never meet them unless we visit your country. But they can still, you can still advertise and show them about pole dart.
Yeah, we need more awareness for these projects, because one of the challenges is being in Colombia. It's much harder to cultivate sponsorship and donors because of the distance, because most of our donors are outside the country.
That's right.
And typically, like the big sanctuaries that are really successful, they'll have like Thanksgiving days, Thanksgiving picnics, potlucks, and there'll be like 1,000 or 2,000 people will come and visit. And they'll raise $100,000 or $200,000 in one day.
And the connection is easy for people to connect when they visit the center.
Yeah, so that's one of the challenges that we have. You could also donate. I mean, I'm thinking that people could donate food.
But it's not easy to come here.
It'd have to be like...
No, that like I said, you can use Patreon, PayPal, donor box, a membership, sponsor one of the animals. You can see all that in our website. Donate your skills if you are expert in fundraising. If you have an Instagram with a lot of followers, you are popular. That is another way to promote, to share. If you are an artist, there is a lot of things that you can.
Yeah, you have so many.
Everyone has something to give. I want that everyone understand that. Everyone has something to give.
Yeah, you have beautiful photos of your animals on your website. Like, what are all the different species? I see you have a llama or an alpaca as one of your animals you could sponsor.
We have pigs, horses, donkey, of course, bulls, cows, chickens, pigeons, rabbits, the llamas, the sheep. One more, we have dogs. We have a lot of dogs, cats.
Some rodents.
Hamsters.
There's so many animals that can be sponsored on your website, I see. And I know people love to sponsor on their favorite animals. And you have so many to choose from with these beautiful faces I'm looking at right now on your website.
Yeah.
And you get, I know usually with sponsorship people get updates on the animal, so they get to get a little bit more involved in, So one follower, Juan, yes, Juan, we will be saving this live stream. It's going to be on our on Vegius page, and as well as we will share it with Paul and Juliana if they also want to put it on that page. So it will be available, easily accessible. And everybody following us directly or listening to the broadcast, and we usually have quite a few people do that. Please follow Juliana's place beautiful sanctuary in Colombia, co-founded by Juliana and Paul Turner, the founders, and they are telling us the story about the sanctuary animals, the particular struggles, and we have learned quite a bit of them. And Juliana's place is one of our sanctuary partners for Vegius. Vegius is just starting, and we want to solve the problem of resources for animals on a structural level, so that animal sanctuaries like them, they get directly supported through the vegan economy directly, so that they focus on what is so important, which is educating people, saving more lives, but educating people, because that is the long-term real solution to the problem. As vital as it is to save a few animals, life is a life. Even if you save one at a million is important, but to save the other 999,999 other animals, we will have to do a lot of work with education, with changing minds, changing hearts, and we make the animal becomes an ambassador for some humans. Those humans become ambassadors for other humans, and that's how real change is going to happen. So Juliana and Paul, so we don't want to take up too much of your very important time. We're just going to ask you one last question as we wrap up. And so, what is the most difficult thing running in a sanctuary? What is the most inspiring things? So, because many people think, and I have run into people with this sort of mentality, they think, oh, Iran, I'm going to start a sanctuary. I hear it every other day. And people think, okay, they're going to go somewhere, take cute pictures with animals, put it on their Facebook, do a little bit of work, and money will start coming in, and they live happy ever after. I tell them, okay, these are real lives. And you cannot take a life unless you really understand what it means to be responsible for it. And at the same time, for you, people who have been there doing it for 20 years, as difficult as it is, you wake up in the morning and something says, this is really, really worth it. So please tell us both sides of that, so people get to really understand what it is like to run a sanctuary.
It's very difficult when someone arrives and without one leg, without bleeding, or a lot of psychological scars that the animals have. That for me is very difficult. I am there cleaning, and inside I'm totally broken. I have nightmares. And I question myself daily. How the hell this is happening? You know? And I still can't understand. I stopped to eat animals when I was 5 years old. My mother was cooking burgers, and I said to her, how looks the burger tree? And she looked at me like, there is no tree, that is an animal. Something that I didn't know. I was so heartbroken when she said that. Anytime that I tell this story, I have the same feeling that I had when I was 5 years old. Like, what? I'm eating someone? And of course, I was 5 years old. So for me, it's difficult to understand why older people is not realist in the way that I realist, but everyone has different stories, psychology, life, parents. But it still is hitting me really bad to understand how these things happen. When I am there with Balaran and his beautiful eyes, when I'm giving belly rubs to Kevin the pig, and all this thing is hitting me all the time. I cross the gates of the sanctuary, and the reality is totally different. And it's broken me each day. People say that I used to because I've been doing this 20 years. No, each day is worse than the day before. So to keep this mental health is very important. That is, for me, is one of the more difficult things, because money come and go, you know, challenger situations come and go, but to live with the victims each day and still don't understand why this is happening is hitting me really bad. And I always want to say for the people that a lot of people write to me, sending message, I want to open an animal sanctuary, what I have to do? And my answer is always the same. Don't. Please don't. Unless that you are in a country where there is no sanctuaries, there is no hope, and you have a lot of money, your mental health is excellent, and you are 100% sure that you're going to dedicate your life to this, that means a lot of tears, a lot of nights that you don't going to sleep, a lot of stress, anxiety. If you are ready for this, and in your country there is no one helping, do it. But if you have the money, your strength, the life to do it, and there is other sanctuaries in the country, let's go to support other sanctuaries.
That's right.
we have to think that if you want to do this and there is already other sanctuary in your area, in your country, maybe you are doing this because your ego.
Yeah.
Because your dream is to have a house with animals, and it's beautiful. Believe me, I wake up and I open my windows and my view is all these friend animals living the best life. So of course, I know a lot of people is jealous of this part of my life. But the reality is a little bit different. So if you are ready to leave this anxiety and stress for money and all this, maybe you are ready. But I'm not even ready, and I've been doing this 20 years. And I still, each day is difficult for me. If you are rich, go to support of the sanctuary. If you have a land that you don't use, donate that land to another sanctuary. We don't need so many sanctuaries. We don't need more education. Doesn't matter how money we have. We don't going to help them in that way. We need more education. The solution for all the problems that we are facing right now in this world is education. That is the solution for everything, not only in big and ways, for everything. So please don't open a new sanctuary. If you have the money, the resources, the strength, everything, go to support other ones that really need it. Let's work together on this. We don't work for our ego. We go work together for one cause that is a bigger world. That is still dream of that.
Yeah, and I can't improve on all of her points are very valid. I can't really improve on that. But what I wanted to say is that it's the same thing with Food Yoga International, that education is a very important component in solving world hunger, because we're very good at feeding people. We can feed so many people very efficiently. Over 1 million meals go out every day from our network around the world. Mm-hmm. And that's nice, filling bellies. But filling bellies doesn't solve world hunger. Temporarily it does. But the long-term solution, the actual root cause of hunger, is not lack of food. It's lack of unity. It's lack of seeing ourselves as global citizens, as earthlings, seeing ourselves as servants. We're all in this together. We're all meant to be helping each other. Mm-hmm. Seeing ourselves as energetically connected. So this is where the food yoga philosophy comes in. And this is what makes us very different at Food Yoga International. We have a food philosophy which is addressing the root cause of hunger, which is through the sharing of pure food, plant-based food, with a loving intention, high vibration food with a loving intention, we can create this sense of unity. Food is a great communicator. It carries intention. Your thoughts, your feelings are invested in that food. That's an important ingredient of a food. And that's often overlooked by most people. They don't understand the subtle aspect of food. And of course, you won't hear this sort of narrative from the United Nations or the World Food Programme, because as far as they're concerned, it's all about hundreds of tons of grains and beans and the very mundane aspect of food relief. But actually, the subtle aspect is just as important, if not more important. And because food is the great communicator, it is the thing which can unite the world. Therefore, we believe if food is shared with a loving intention, if it's pure food shared with a loving intention, it can create the sense of unity, and then things like hunger will disappear overnight, because we won't tolerate our brother or sister being hungry. We won't see ourselves so divided. We won't see the difference in the skin color, the language. We'll just see ourselves as global citizens, as earthlings. We're all in this together. So that's the actual solution for solving things like world hunger. Education is the foundation of all positive change.
Well, no, I said, well said. I agree. I think it's
what you got? Oh, sorry,
making them aware so that they can make the choice themselves.
Yeah.
And that is what the benefit of visiting a sanctuary or learning,
Absolutely.
as Paula explained, like learning and being united with your community so that we support each other.
Absolutely. I wanted just to say one thing that what you're saying is music to my ears. And what I wanted to say is, before as we wrap up, Juliana, for you and Paul, and how I think about you. I always tell people, through my personal understanding and reading, more and more I have come to a conclusion that all those politicians that we have, the diplomats, all they can achieve for us, buy us some time. They can achieve some quiet. They cannot achieve peace. Permanent peace has to start when we end the oldest war, and that is us versus the rest of the animal kingdom. That is, once we go to the root of that, and in fact, the violence that we met out to animals spills over to human violence. So, and the antidote to that, and the real diplomats, in my opinion, are people like Juliana and Paul. That's why we have to stand behind them. That's we have to support them. Not only we get to support them structurally, as I said, through Vegius, trying to find a structural solution to the problem of funding, but by building relationships, by coming together, by talking. And I have to say, on a personal level, since I met Paul, I have seen nothing but honesty and integrity and consistency. Like I always say, if whatever Paul says, I always trust him. These are incredibly trustworthy people, very worthy people being supported. So please follow them on Instagram. Please consider donating your time, your skills, and just by sending a message and say, I see you. I see you, I hear you, and I'm in this with you. So thank you so very much for giving us some of your precious time. And Mary, thank you so much for being with us as a co-host, as your first one. She really wanted to be in this one as her first one, because I told her let's do like start co-hosting, and she said and I mentioned I'm thinking about Paul and Juliana. Said, oh my God, the synchronicity. And she said that she told me that story.
No, nice to see you again.
Thank you so much to share. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you for all that you do. I personally cannot come visit you in Colombia and actually volunteer in person. I volunteer at sanctuaries in person, so I have experience. And of course, as I said, I would love to, and I would be sponsoring one of your animals. And I'm telling people for the price of 2 cups of coffee a month, just brew some coffee at home, and then you are going to become part of a family. And so thank you for everything that you do. We will be in touch. And then I'm in fact thinking about having this group sanctuary lives where we meet with multiple sanctuaries from different countries, so you get to meet people in other countries, and we can build community even more. So looking forward to that.